The cold winds of the South Atlantic cut through the morning haze as 4 Argentine A-4 Skyhawks rise from the airbase. Their engines roar across the low clouds, carrying men who already know the odds. They may not return. At the front of the formation flies Captain Pablo Carvalho, calm but focused. He leads his squadron toward the distant shadow of the Falkland Islands, where the British fleet waits. Their mission: destroy the destroyer HMS Coventry and the frigate HMS Broadsword, 2 powerful symbols of the Royal Navy's strength. Each pilot carries not only bombs, but also the weight of a nation fighting to defend what they call Las Malvinas. Carvalho's voice cuts through the radio static. Stay low. No one climbs, no matter what happens. Below them, the waves shimmer under the cold sun, both beautiful and deadly. The air is tense inside each cockpit. Every pilot knows the British radar network is unforgiving. A single wrong move, and they'll be hunted down by Sea Dart missiles before ever seeing their target. Carvalho's calm voice becomes their anchor in the storm. Remember, we fly together. Trust your instincts. Trust your brothers. Beside him, Lieutenant Carlos Rinca gives a silent nod. Behind them, another pair led by Lieutenant Mariano Velasco follows the formation, ready to strike if the first attack fails. Their planes are old, stripped-down A-4 Skyhawks without radar, countermeasures, or electronic defenses, just raw steel, courage, and gravity. Each jet carries 2 heavy 450-kilogram bombs that could change the course of the war, if they survive long enough to drop them. They skim just above the waves, flying lower than the radar horizon, so close that the ocean spray begins to salt their windshields. Every heartbeat syncs with the thunder of the engines. They are no longer just pilots. They are instruments of a single purpose: strike and survive. The plan is as dangerous as it is brilliant. Fly so low that the British radars cannot detect them. Every second spent above the horizon means death. Carvalho's formation descends even more, the Skyhawks nearly kissing the Atlantic waves. The altimeter shows just a few meters between life and destruction. One sudden gust, and the ocean would claim them. Over the radio, his voice stays calm, almost steady. Keep formation. Follow the terrain. Do not rise, no matter what. The Argentine pilots know the enemy ships are out there. Coventry and Broadsword, the guardians of the British task force, each equipped with radar-guided missiles capable of vaporizing a jet in seconds. But Carvalho counts on the element of surprise. He knows that if they use the Falkland Islands as a shield, flying behind ridges and cliffs, the radar beams will miss them completely. It's a race against detection and against fate. As they approach Pebble Island, the moment of truth draws near. The men glance at their fuel gauges. They will only have one chance, one attack, before they must return or perish in the cold sea. Far to the northeast, the HMS Coventry slices through the frigid waters of the South Atlantic. On its bridge stands Captain David Hartdike, scanning the radar screens with silent intensity. His destroyer has been on constant alert for days. The Argentine Air Force has proven fearless and deadly. The radar officer suddenly stiffens. "Captain, multiple echoes, bearing 225, distance 30 miles. Hartdike feels a chill that has nothing to do with the wind. He knows what that means: incoming attackers. He barks orders. "Battle stations, sound the alarm!" Sirens wail through the ship. Sailors rush to their posts, sealing hatches, loading ammunition, preparing for the fight of their lives. The destroyer's twin Sea Dart missile launchers rise from their housings, ready to engage. Hartdike calls to his counterpart on the HMS Broadsword, the frigate sailing nearby. "Broadsword, report your readiness," a voice replies through the static. "Seawolf system online and tracking, Captain." 2 ships. 2 different defense systems. One chance to survive what's coming. Hartdike tightens his jaw. The echoes on the radar are still faint, but closing fast. He mutters under his breath, "Let's see if our training holds, because they're coming straight for us." The seconds stretch into eternity as the radar blips grow brighter. 4 contacts confirmed, approaching fast, shouts the operator. Every man aboard Coventry feels the same weight. This time, the hunters have become the hunted. Up above the waves, Carvalho's Skyhawks tear through the mist at nearly 800 kilometers per hour. They are invisible until the very last moment, flying so low the radar waves bounce over them. But as they near open water, their silhouettes finally emerge on British screens. Enemy aircraft detected, bearing 192, extremely low altitude. The crew of the Coventry scrambles. Gunners load the 4.5-inch main gun. Missiles rotate to face the threat. The entire ship becomes a machine of survival. Then confusion. A British Harrier jet suddenly appears on the same bearing. Captain, friendly aircraft detected in the same zone. Hartdyke's mind races. The radar shows both enemy and ally, indistinguishable and seconds from engagement. He must choose, hold fire and risk being hit, or shoot and hope the missiles find the right target. He makes his call. Clear the Harrier! Fire the Sea Darts! The destroyer shudders as 2 missiles roar skyward, but the tracking system struggles. The Skyhawks are flying almost inside the ocean spray. The radar locks flicker, then vanish. Target's lost! No lock! Keep searching, they're out there! Somewhere beyond the horizon, Carvalho and his men continue undetected, ghosts racing toward their prey. The coastline of Pebble Island rises ahead like a dark shadow through the morning fog. For the British, it's a small blip on the map, but for the Argentine pilots, it's salvation. Carvalho knows the island will mask their presence from radar. Stay low, he whispers into the radio. Follow my lead. We are ghosts now. The Skyhawks skim the rocky terrain just meters above the cliffs. The waves crash beneath them. Gulls scatter as the jets tear through the sky. Inside their cockpits, the pilots feel both fear and euphoria. The silence of the radio, the vibration of the engines, the smell of fuel and salt. They've passed the point of no return. On the Coventry, the radar screen flickers. Captain, the contacts are gone, lost over Pebble Island. Hartdyke stares at the screen, a knot tightening in his chest. He knows what that means. They're too close now. The Sea Dart missiles have a minimum firing range. Once the enemy crosses that line, the destroyer is vulnerable, almost defenseless. Hartdyke clenches his fists. Damn it, they're right under our noses. The crew can't see them yet, but they can feel it, the stillness before a storm. Out there, somewhere beyond the island, 4 Skyhawks glide silently toward destiny. The moment has come. Carvalho looks ahead and finally sees them. 2 dark silhouettes cutting through the waves, HMS Coventry and HMS Broadsword. He presses the throttle forward. Velasco, hold your position. We go first, he orders, voice steady but heart-pounding. The Skyhawks surge ahead, roaring just meters above the sea. Inside the Coventry, alarms blare. Visual contact, 2 bogies incoming. On the decks, sailors rush to the railings, weapons raised. The air fills with the deafening thunder of engines and gunfire. Tracer rounds streak upward, carving red lines through the sky. The British destroyer unleashes everything it has. 20mm cannons, machine guns, rifles. The sea boils with explosions. Carvalho flies straight into the storm. Bullets zip past his canopy, tearing into the waves around him. He can see the flashes from Coventry's guns. The ship is so close he can almost feel its heat. Rinka's voice cracks through the radio. "They're firing everything at us, Captain." "Stay on target." Carvalho snaps back. He pulls the trigger, releasing his 450-kilogram bombs. They drop low, bounce off the waves like stones, and head straight for the British ships. Carvalho yanks the stick, climbing sharply as the bombs race below. His aircraft shakes violently under the strain. Behind him, explosions rock the sea, but he doesn't look back. He has done his part. Now fate decides. For a few eternal seconds, the world holds its breath. Every eye aboard the HMS Broadsword and HMS Coventry follows the falling shapes. 2 massive 450-kilogram bombs skipping across the waves. One plunges into the sea before reaching its target, But the other, it strikes the broadsword dead on. A metallic roar tears through the frigate as the bomb punches through the side, rips across the main deck, and bursts out the other end, without detonating. Sailors duck for cover, expecting annihilation, but there's only silence. Then a deep metallic clang as the bomb splashes harmlessly into the ocean. Carvalho's heart sinks. He looks over his shoulder and sees the broadsword still afloat, still fighting. "Damn it, it didn't explode!" Brinka shouts through the static. Carvalho exhales slowly. Their luck had held, but so had the enemy's. They turn away, their mission half finished, and the British guns follow them with fire. Yet as Carvalho retreats into the gray horizon, he knows something bigger is coming. Behind him, the second wave is already on its way. Younger pilots, flying lower, armed with smaller but more reliable bombs. The storm isn't over. It's just beginning. Far behind Carvalho's retreating jets, the second formation emerges from the clouds. Leading the charge is First Lieutenant Mariano Velasco, with Midshipman Jorge Barrionuevo at his wing. Their mission? Finish what the first group started. They fly even lower than their comrades did, so close that the Skyhawks' wingtips almost graze the ocean. Their bombs are smaller, 250 kilograms each, but far more dependable. If they hit, they will detonate. Velasco's voice breaks the static. Carvalho's attack failed to sink them. Now it's our turn. Barrionuevo answers, for our brothers and for Argentina. They adjust course toward the smoke trails still hanging over the horizon. Ahead lies the British task force, alert, ready, and angry. On the Coventry, Captain Hartdyke watches his radar screens light up once more. 4 new contacts, bearing 210, closing fast. He grips the console. This time he's ready. Bring the ship around to starboard. Prepare Sea Dart launch. The destroyer begins to turn sharply, exposing its broadside to the enemy while missile operators race to lock on to the incoming Skyhawks. A white-hot missile launches from the deck with a thunderous roar, cutting through the gray sky, a streak of light against the horizon. Velasco and Barrionuevo see it. Missile inbound! They dive even lower, hugging the sea so tightly that the shockwave of their own jet wash ripples across the water. The missile streaks overhead and disappears into the clouds, losing its lock. Velasco looks to his right. Barrionuevo still there, steady. They are alive. And the target grows larger with every heartbeat. On the HMS Broadsword, tension thickens like the mist rolling across the waves. Radar operators shout updates, their screens blinking with the incoming blips of Velasco and Barrionuevo. "Seawolf system ready to fire," one of them yells. The Seawolf, the Royal Navy's most advanced short-range missile system, locks onto both Skyhawks. But then, chaos. The radar registers both jets as a single target, confused by how close they fly to one another. "Target merged. System cannot separate." "Reboot the guidance computer now!" They scramble to reset the system as the 2 Argentine jets rush toward them. Meanwhile, the HMS Coventry swings across Broadsword's line of fire, an unintentional move that blocks the only ship still capable of defending them both. "Coventry is crossing our sight line," shouts the Broadsword's commander. "Hold your fire, you'll hit her!" In seconds, the window for retaliation closes. By the time the Seawolf system flickers back to life, the Skyhawks are already breaking through the gunfire. Velasco can see the 2 British warships clearly now. Coventry turning, Broadsword rolling with the waves. Everything narrows to a single moment. He steadies his aim. "This is it," he whispers. Inside the British bridge, sailors yell over the alarms. "Guns, open fire! All batteries, now!" The Coventry erupts in thunder, pouring lead and steel toward the horizon. But the Sea Dart launchers are empty, the 20mm cannon jams, and the main gun fires too low, its aim thrown off by the ship's violent turn. In less than 10 seconds, the proud destroyer is nearly defenseless. Through the chaos, Velasco locks eyes on his target, the mighty destroyer HMS Coventry. The ship looms ahead, its gray hull cutting through the waves, its guns blazing wildly. Tracer rounds flash past his cockpit. One hits his right wing, tearing away a piece of metal, but he doesn't flinch. He pushes the throttle to maximum and steadies his hand. "Hold the line!" he shouts to Barrionuevo. "Now or never!" The sea and sky blur into one. The Coventry fills the entire windshield, a steel monster fighting to survive. Velasco squeezes the trigger, unleashing a storm of 20mm fire across the destroyer's bridge. Sparks and flames erupt as bullets shred antennas and equipment. Then, in one perfect move, he releases both 250-kilogram bombs. They fall silently, cutting through the smoke and wind before slamming into the Coventry's hull. Two muffled thuds echo through the ship. No explosion, yet. For a split second, the crew believes they've been spared. Then, the world erupts. Two massive detonations rip through the destroyer, one under the operations room, another in the forward engine compartment. Fire bursts from the hatches as black smoke billows skyward. The deck tilts violently to starboard. Men are thrown off their feet. Alarms scream across the ship. Hartdyke's voice cuts through the panic. "Damage control! Get the fires out! Get them out!" But it's too late. The Coventry is dying. Velasco pulls up sharply, banking hard to avoid the fiery blast. He looks down and sees the destroyer engulfed in flames, a sight both victorious and haunting. Over the radio, Barrionuevo cries out, "Impact confirmed! We hit her! She's burning!" The Argentine pilots cheer in disbelief, not out of hate, but of raw survival. They had faced death and won. Inside the burning HMS Coventry, smoke fills every corridor. Flames crawl along cables and bulkheads, devouring oxygen, swallowing voices. The lights flicker, then die. The ship's power is gone. Captain David Hartdyke stumbles to his feet, half deafened by the explosions. His bridge, once filled with screens and instruments, is now a twisted ruin of steel and fire. He shouts through the smoke, searching for his officers. "Report! Report!" But the only answer is the crackle of fire and the muffled screams of trapped men below deck. The destroyer groans, listing hard to one side. Metal twists and snaps like bone. Hartdyke grabs a handrail and pushes forward, coughing, trying to reach the operations room. When he arrives, it's gone, obliterated. Every radar operator, every technician, gone in an instant. Below, sailors fight to reach the upper decks. Some drag wounded comrades through the smoke. Others try desperately to flood the burning compartments to slow the blaze. The order finally echoes through the ship. Abandon ship! Abandon ship! Yet even in chaos, the crew moves with precision. Training takes over where fear might have ruled. One sailor wraps a bandage around his burned arm and returns to help another man up the ladder. Another stays behind to open a hatch for the last trapped engineer. Hartdyke reaches the main deck just as the sea rushes up the tilted hull. He looks around. His ship is dying, but his men are alive. They are fighting for one another, not for glory, not for orders, but for life itself. He grips the railing as the cold Atlantic wind hits his face. "Get them off," he says quietly. "Get every man off." The HMS Coventry, once a proud symbol of British power, now burns like a floating torch, a monument to bravery on both sides. The once mighty Coventry now lists sharply to starboard, its decks nearly touching the freezing Atlantic. Black smoke rises like a beacon visible for miles. But amid the flames and chaos, discipline prevails. The crew moves with astonishing order, every man trained for this very nightmare. Teams of sailors fan out across the deck, helping the wounded and guiding others to the lifeboat stations. Medics kneel beside the burned and the bleeding, wrapping bandages and giving words of comfort, even as explosions echo below. "Stay calm! Move to the port side!" someone yells. The British sailors obey without hesitation, courage forged through years of training. Helicopters from the task force arrive, blades slicing the smoke-filled sky. Winches lower rescuers onto the burning deck. One pilot shouts through the headset, "We can take 10, send the wounded first." Below deck, others fight through corridors half submerged in seawater, carrying the last survivors out of the firestorm. Some refuse to leave until every man they can find is safe. Captain Hartdyke stands on the bridge wing, watching his crew's bravery unfold. He knows the ship is lost, but his men are not. He shouts over the roar of the sea, "Abandon ship, that's an order, go!" As the last boats pull away, sailors turn back to look at the Coventry, smoke billowing, flames licking the sky. They know they've witnessed something terrible and unforgettable. One survivor whispers a prayer as the cold spray hits his face. God bless her, she fought well. The rescue is chaotic, heroic, and heartbreakingly human, a testament to discipline, courage, and brotherhood in the face of death. As the lifeboats drift away from the wreck, one figure remains silhouetted against the flames. Captain David Hartdyke. The sea hisses as burning debris falls from the decks. The destroyer leans farther, groaning like a wounded giant. Hartdyke moves through the smoke, searching each passageway one last time. "Anyone left? Answer me!" he calls, his voice hoarse. No reply, only the crackle of fire and the sound of rushing water filling the lower compartments. He climbs out onto the exposed hull, the deck now almost vertical. From there, he sees the rescue helicopter circling, the lifeboats scattered across the dark water, men waving to him to jump. For a moment, he hesitates, the weight of command holding him in place. This ship had been his pride, his home, his responsibility. He removes his cap, presses it against his chest, and whispers, "Goodbye, old girl." Then he steps down onto the overturned hull and slides into the freezing sea, swimming toward the nearest boat. As he's pulled aboard, he turns back for one last look. HMS Coventry, ablaze and sinking slowly beneath the gray Atlantic sky. The destroyer that once defended the British fleet disappears beneath the waves, leaving only oil, smoke, and silence behind. The next morning, the cold South Atlantic is eerily quiet. Only floating debris, oil slicks, and lifeboats mark the place where HMS Coventry fought her final battle. Rescue ships and helicopters scour the area. Out of nearly 200 men, 170 are saved, thanks to training, courage, and leadership under fire. But 19 never return home. Their names are carried in silence by the survivors, etched forever in memory. From the Argentine base, Captain Pablo Carballo and his men land safely. They cheer, weep, and embrace one another. They had achieved what many thought impossible, destroying a modern British destroyer with outdated aircraft and sheer determination. Yet, even in victory, their faces carry a shadow of sorrow. They know that courage existed on both sides of the battle. The sinking of HMS Coventry becomes one of the most iconic and tragic moments of the Falklands War. It shows the world how bravery and human error can collide in seconds, turning the ocean into both grave and glory. Years later, survivors from both nations would meet again, not as enemies, but as men who had faced death and lived to remember. For in war, true honor isn't measured by victory, but by humanity in the face of chaos.